Welcome back. Episode 2 is the last one, and it gets intense.
We go deep on Ozempic's side effects, muscle loss, addiction theories, and whether society will fix food or just medicate it.
The pancreatitis story alone made me go, okay, pause, that's not a cute trade-off.
It's rare, sure, but rare doesn't make it less brutal when it happens.
9 times risk sounds like a horror movie multiplier, not a skincare routine.
And the part that gets me is how clinicians ask the Ozempic questions so fast.
Like, are you a heavy drinker? Also, are you in the cult?
The cult is semaglutide, not a goth band, Malik.
But I think the episode's real argument is, it's not just weight loss, it's a system rewrite.
Exactly. Gut hormones, appetite signaling, reward circuits. It's not eat less, it's your brain changes.
Which is why the addiction stuff felt wild, like, wait, it might reduce cocaine cravings too?
The animal evidence is fascinating, but humans are always messier than lab rats, unfortunately.
Still, if rats cut drinking by like 60%, that's not subtle.
True, and the selectivity angle is the part that sounds almost too neat.
It kills the Big Mac desire, but spares the salad craving. That's eerily omniscient.
Like, how does it know what's bad for you versus what's genuinely enjoyable?
Or does it just dampen the reward system and we're projecting meaning onto it?
We genuinely don't know, and that uncertainty is what makes the whole thing scary.
And then muscle loss drops in like a plot twist.
Weight loss without strength is basically buying fragility with a prettier number.
Sarcopenia sounds like a villain name, but it's just getting weak and falling.
And if you fall, you're at higher risk of dying, so yeah, not a fun villain.
Do we think gym culture will compensate for it, or will people just move less?
The episode basically answers that. Many people will exercise less because the shortcut feels like it removes responsibility.
And exercise has benefits completely separate from weight. Mental health, aging, disease prevention.
I love that distinction because people act like cardio is optional if you're skinny now. Nope.
The moment someone says, just take the jab, my brain goes, okay, what's the hidden bill?
You're channeling that no free lunch logic hard.
Because the historical diet drug cemetery is grim.
Dinitrophenol turning people blind and cooked from the inside is not a good look for miracles.
Fen with heart-lung damage and those huge payouts, like the pharma industry finally blinked.
The episode's point wasn't don't use these, it was don't pretend unknown unknowns don't exist.
And unknown unknowns are especially scary for long-term brain and pregnancy risks.
That phrase, guinea pigs, landed like a punch.
Because emotionally, it feels like society is running an experiment on millions before we're ready.
Especially with younger generations, drugging kids because school food and industry incentives failed first.
I couldn't believe the parents in the US already giving it to children part.
And the episode pushes this. If access expands without regulation, the default becomes mass use.
2 classes of humans, those who inject and thin, and those who can't afford the science aisle.
And then the dystopia isn't just inequality, it's distraction from fixing the environment.
Like, why are we not doing reformulation, sugar taxes, or school nutrition changes first?
Japan's Metabo law would get us riots, but the logic is clean. Measure, incentivize, prevent.
Britain would burn down an office if you told people they're rank 121 in steps.
But the outcome they point to, longer healthy life and less sickness, makes you wonder what we're refusing to learn.
Also, the episode didn't let weight stigma off the hook.
Yeah, shame drives the whole system, and then it blames the person for being trapped in it.
The Adele Rebel Wilson backlash stuff was weirdly revealing about how people respond to visible change.
It's like, good for them, but also now I feel worse about myself, so shame turns to anger.
And when the person doing the shrinking might be on Ozempic, the resentment spikes because it challenges the moral story.
The moral story is always the problem. Punishment fantasies about gluttony and cheating.
That's why the cheating feeling stood out to me, because it's so culturally loaded.
If your brain treats weight as sin, any medical help feels like breaking the rules.
And then there's the debate of plateaus, tolerance, and what happens if you stop.
The regain stats, like most people returning to the much of their weight, make the lifetime conversation unavoidable.
The episode basically says, we don't fully know if your body adapts permanently.
Which matters because if the drug becomes infrastructure, stopping is like pulling a keystone.
And pregnancy data is thin, so unknown unknowns isn't theoretical. It's missing evidence.
Right. So ethically, you want caution where data is weak, not marketing where data is convenient.
I also liked the fairness toward diabetics and people who truly need it.
The ration-like COVID vaccines comparison is blunt, but it shows the moral failure of scramble allocation.
It's wild that public health triage still wasn't done before the hype wave.
And that circles back to the core theme. This isn't just personal choice, it's policy, industry, and incentives.
Which is why the show started stressing trade-offs, not certainty.
The most honest ending is also the most human. People weigh risks differently, and no answer is universal.
Also, I'm sorry, but magic pill is such a dangerously catchy phrase for something that sounds like it should come with a warning label.
Yep, magic like a trick, magic like a spiral, magic like a wish that doesn't land how you think.
All right, for the final wrap, what do you want the listener to actually take away from this 2-episode arc?
That the miracle framing is incomplete. There are real benefits for some people, but real risks and real unknowns too.
And the best long-term win isn't only pills, it's fixing the food environment so children aren't forced into adult dilemmas.
Exactly. Health should never mean surrendering your agency to a shortcut forever.
All right, that's it for the series. Thanks for hanging with us through the magic and the mess.
If you've been on the fence, go slow. Think trade-offs, demand evidence, and be kind to yourself in the process.
Welcome back. This episode was basically miracle pills versus reality checks.
We went hard on side effects, muscle loss, addiction questions, and the big trade-off calculus.
The part that keeps drilling into me is how everyone says no downside.
Yeah, because no downside is literally marketing language from every dangerous category.
Like even if pancreatitis is rare, it's still excruciatingly bad when it happens.
And rare doesn't comfort you when it's your pancreas being the data point.
What I liked is the framing. Vanity and safety are different conversations.
Vanity is, I look hollow. Safety is, I might feel like dying.
And then you layer in muscle mass loss. People ignore that like it's optional.
They treat bodies like detachable skin suits. Lose fat, who cares?
But strength, falls, sarcopenia, those are not vibes, they're mechanics.
Also, the I'm skinnier and weaker observation hits too hard.
It's like the gym becomes less of a payoff and more of a rationing exercise.
And then the psychology layer, expectations versus reality, can punch you in the face.
The anticlimax story is brutal. Weight gone, life still the same pain.
And suicidality is one of those areas where causality is messy and time matters.
Which is exactly why people feel like they're guinea pigs, even if they're trying to be responsible.
We don't know yet is both honest and terrifying when you're taking it weekly.
That phrase should come with a pause button and a consent form.
The show-stopping comparison for me was the diet drug history.
Fen time, amphetamines time, like the industry keeps learning the same lesson late.
That's why the unknown unknowns concept feels important, not just dramatic.
But you know what's tricky? Obesity risks are real too. People aren't debating for fun.
Exactly. So the ethical conversation becomes trade-offs, not good versus evil.
I love the energy shift, from demonizing pills to interrogating the incentives.
Because the pills don't exist in a vacuum. They show up in a food world engineered to defeat you.
And that's why the Japan examples land. Reformulation, culture, policy nudges.
The metabo law stuff is wild, like workplace accountability meets step counting.
If we tried that in Britain, the office would probably combust immediately.
Yeah, social meaning is different. You can't paste policy like it's a sticker.
But the underlying idea is universal. Don't only outsource blame to the individual body.
Speaking of blame, how do you feel about the cheating narrative people absorb when they use these meds?
I hate that. It turns medical intervention into a moral storyline.
Like, you took statins, but did you earn it spiritually?
Exactly, and women get hit hardest by that cultural garbage.
The public shame is constant, so any visible weight loss becomes a symbol of betrayal.
Like people reacting to Adele or Rebel Wilson, how dare you not suffer publicly like me?
It's grief and envy wearing a righteous outfit.
But the real moral question is, are we building better environments or just faster individual coping?
And there's the supply issue too. When demand spikes, diabetics get locked out.
That's why rationing by medical need feels morally cleaner than chaotic market scrambling.
It's like COVID vaccine logic. Prioritize risk, not trendiness.
Which brings me to the scariest long-term scenario, kids being medicated because the environment won't change.
Mass waves of drugging children is dystopia, even if it starts with parents did their best.
Because best still isn't the same as right. There's still a systems failure under it.
And everyone assumes the next iteration becomes pills. Cheaper, easier, so access expands.
Daily pill, no needles, suddenly normalizing long-term dependency.
Dependency is the word people avoid, but stopping regains weight for many people.
Also metabolism questions. No one truly knows what happens if it's withdrawn someday.
That uncertainty is manageable when you're treating diabetes, harder when you're chasing super thin.
And then there's the exercise question. If appetite drops, movement habits might drop too.
Exercise isn't just a weight loss tool. It's mental health, disease prevention, aging speed control.
So the drug might win calories, but the body still needs signals for strength and mood.
Like your brain won't be satisfied by less food alone. It likes purpose and progress.
One more controversial piece. Addiction and the selectivity idea.
Yeah, rats cutting alcohol use and heroin and cocaine reductions. Wild signals, even if humans are mixed so far.
But that's also where overselling risk appears. Animal studies don't equal human cures.
Still, the possibility that reward circuitry shifts, less desire for the bad stuff, not the good stuff, is genuinely intriguing.
The body is not supposed to be that selective, so scientists are basically like, okay, explain that.
And that's why the big takeaway is humility. Benefits exist, risks exist, and the unknowns are real.
If we start demanding evidence and refusing slogans, people can make calmer decisions.
Plus, we can fight the root cause, food systems, and culture, not only the symptom in the mirror.
All right, for the final wrap of this arc, no free lunch, just trade-offs.
And the most humane future is pills for emergencies, plus policy for prevention.
Thanks for hanging with us. This series ends, but the curiosity shouldn't.
Go slow, think through costs, and be kind to yourself, always.
Welcome back, Daniel. Final episode of this whole Ozempic arc.
Today, we dug into side effects like pancreatitis, muscle loss, and suicidality fears.
Then we fought the big idea. It's never no downside, it's always trade-offs.
And we ended on the scariest part, how society might react, especially kids.
Can we start with this most cinematic horror story first?
That pancreatitis story is unreal. Someone screaming pain, ambulance, pancreas cooked.
And it's rare, but rare doesn't mean emotionally irrelevant, you know?
Exactly, because rare can still be life-altering and terrifying.
They said risk was like 9 times higher from one study, right?
9 times sounds huge, but even then the absolute rate stays low.
Low absolute probability, high what if it's me probability.
That's the emotional math people never talk about.
I love how everyone talks like it's a free upgrade for being human.
Meanwhile, your body is like, cool, we'll add nausea and maybe pancreatitis.
Muscle loss is the one that sneaks up quietly, though.
Because everyone focuses on the scale, not what you're paying with.
Like you can lose fat, but also lose lean mass, strength, function, long-term resilience.
And then older age turns sarcopenia into the villain origin story.
Poverty of the flesh is such a grim translation too.
Here's my pushback. Not everyone loses muscle like that, right?
True, but even mild muscle loss can matter when you're already near the edge.
Especially for people who start off skinny and chase super skinny anyway.
The I want to be smaller than my personality crowd.
Or the I'll just take the pill so I don't have to train plan.
And that plan might reduce exercise, which is not a small side quest.
Exercise isn't just calories. It's mood, brain, longevity markers, whole package.
That's why the trade-off isn't only pills versus side effects, it's pills versus habits.
Do you think people will actually move less after they can suppress appetite?
Some will, but some will double down. Depends on the person's identity around health.
But online identity gets hijacked fast by the magic bullet narrative.
Yeah, and then the cheating feeling shows up, especially in women.
You can feel that Catholic guilt vibe in the culture, like gluttony is sin energy.
But the weird part is the villain isn't the patient, it's the food system and stigma.
Exactly. And that stigma makes the whole debate toxic because shame is everywhere.
Like people reacting to celebrities losing weight as if it's betrayal.
Adele and Rebel Wilson backlash? People mad they don't suffer enough?
We built a shrine to struggle and you took the shortcut.
And that shame is exactly what makes people hide side effects or oversell results.
Speaking of overselling, suicidality is a messy one.
Yeah, because correlational noise is brutal. Some people are suicidal anyway at baseline.
But some theories are psychological. Loss of comfort food, shattered expectations.
The I expected weight loss to fix my life collapse can be a real emotional fall.
And other theories go to brain reward pathways, possible changes in desire and reinforcement.
We don't know definitively, which is why fear is rational, but certainty is not.
We don't know is terrifying, but it's also honest science.
And that honesty matters, because history with diet drugs is not cute.
Dinitrophenol, amphetamines, jaw wiring. The grimness is like a horror playlist.
And then fen-phen, leading to pulmonary hypertension and giant settlements.
The single study of 120 people part is what really makes my stomach drop.
It shows how marketing can outrun evidence, and unknown unknowns come later.
Unknown unknowns, Rumsfeld reference, right? That whole concept is so relevant.
The best time to learn is before millions of people become the experiment.
So the rational posture is humility, not hype or denial.
Which leads to the big question, is this medicine different from past failures?
It might be mechanistically different. GLP-1, GIP, triagonists. But biology still has surprises.
Also, the addiction angle is fascinating. Animal studies cutting alcohol and opioids intake.
Selectivity is the weirdest claim. Less Big Mac craving, not less salad taste.
Mechanism speculation is fun, but I want human data, not campfire theories.
Exactly. Promising, but don't crown it king until the trial results mature.
And meanwhile, real-world access becomes a moral issue, not just a medical one.
The shortage argument, diabetics needing it first, feels like a policy failure.
Like rationing the way vaccines were rationed. Urgency first, not vibes first.
Because people shouldn't be delayed into worse outcomes due to someone else's elective use.
But then again, you also don't want to create a two-tier humanity of health versus thinness.
Which makes the kids part the ultimate nightmare scenario.
The idea of drugging children forever, unknown long-term risks, is ethically brutal.
That's why prevention policy matters. Sugar taxes, reformulation, school food changes.
Like Japan's Metabo law, measuring outcomes, incentivizing healthier workplaces.
Britain would literally burn the office down if we tried that step count surveillance.
We're too loud, too individualistic, too allergic to show your data daily.
But we could still do reformulation without dystopia. Salt reduction in bread worked.
The point is, pills aren't the only lever. They're a lever that came late.
And late levers shouldn't replace upstream responsibility.
Also, even if you take the pill, you still owe your body respect. Strength training, movement, sleep.
I'm saying this as someone who basically uses the gym as mental therapy.
You and your gym, always ready to stare down the mirror and the pen.
The Dragon's Den stare is real, by the way.
He was judging that investment like it needed risk-adjusted returns.
Risk-adjusted returns is the perfect metaphor, because humans want miracles, not models.
So final wrap, no free lunch, just trade-offs and compassion in decision-making.
And the most humane future is pills for emergencies, plus policy for prevention.
Thanks for hanging with us. This series ends, but the curiosity doesn't.
Go slow, think through costs, and be kind to yourself, always.
Welcome back. This is the final episode, and we're unpacking Ozempic's trade-offs.
Yep, pancreatitis risk, muscle loss, possible suicidality signals, plus the dystopian who gets access part.
Also, the wild history of diet drugs, like someone's been speedrunning human suffering.
And the big thesis, there's no free lunch, even when the lunch is a magic needle pen.
No downside is exactly the phrase that makes my brain start flashing red.
The uncomfortable bit is we do see benefits, sometimes life-changing, so it's not easy to dismiss.
Right, like if someone's diabetes is spiraling, who am I to tell them, be brave, suffer?
But benefits don't cancel out unknown unknowns, and that's where people get sloppy.
The pancreatitis story alone is enough to make minor side effect sound like propaganda.
9 times the risk is not nothing, even if the absolute number stays small.
And the pain description, fentanyl-level agony, like, that's not a normal oh well.
Doctors often compare it to being stabbed, and suddenly I'm extremely pro-label warnings.
Imagine getting stabbed because your appetite wanted a vacation.
The moral math gets darker fast once you add muscle loss and weakness risk.
He said 20 to 30% lean muscle mass loss for some people, which is not trivial.
And even if fat loss is excellent, losing strength changes your whole future risk profile.
Sarcopenia later on, stairs, falls, and all that compounding misery, that's the long shadow.
And you can't outlift an aging body that's running low on muscle reserves.
Then there's the mental health question, anxiety, depression, and suicidality debates.
It's disputed, but we can't disentangle it yet is not the same as it's impossible.
People love to jump to certainty either way, and both directions are lazy.
The expectation-reality thing is actually brutal. Lose weight, and the original life problems remain.
That anticlimax can hit like a truck because the brain built the lie into the plan.
And then there's the other theory, reward system dampening, which sounds plausible but unproven.
Also, the sentence, "This is speculative, we don't know," makes this feel like being in an experiment.
That discomfort is real, because we're not just changing weight, we're nudging brain circuits.
The gut hormones did it. Sounds cute until you realize it might do more things too.
And that's why the history of diet drugs matters. Dinitrophenol, amphetamines, fen-phen horror shows.
Fen-phen got people sick, and the fact it was known risk all along is nauseating.
The pattern is always miracle marketing, then delayed tragedy, then lawsuits.
Which brings us to the phrase, unknown unknowns, and I hate how true it is.
Like antipsychotics and dementia risk, safety doesn't mean safety forever.
Everyone wants 1-year evidence, but side effects often show up after years of exposure.
Yet at the same time, obesity risks are catastrophic and well documented, so it's not a clean comparison.
Diabetes shaving off years of life, blindness, amputations, those outcomes are not hypothetical.
That's why the whole just try harder crowd annoys me, because the odds are already stacked unfairly.
He also made the no free lunch point, comparing it to energy conservation.
I love when the universe gets dragged into health debates like, bro, you can't destroy energy.
But the deeper idea is trade-offs. You can move burdens around, not remove them.
That's why no downside is dangerous, because downside might be shifted to another domain or later time.
Like, it's fine, you just stop eating until you realize humans need more than calories.
Exercise is the other half. People might get lazier, and mental health benefits from movement don't vanish.
There's a real question. Will appetite suppression reduce motivation to cook, move, and train?
And even if weight drops, you can lose the stuff that makes you feel alive and functional.
Also, addiction angles are fascinating but messy. Animal data doesn't automatically equal human cures.
Still, the fact that alcohol and even cocaine use dropped in rats is genuinely mind-blowing.
And the selectivity claim, less Big Mac desire, not salad desire, sounds like sci-fi.
If it can discriminate cravings perfectly, I want it to do my tax returns too.
But joking aside, we need more human studies, especially long-term, across diverse populations.
The supply and access discussion is another hidden cost. People who need it for diabetes get blocked.
Rationing like vaccines, prioritize highest medical need, feels morally obvious, yet wasn't the default.
Because instead we gotta scramble, and some diabetics hit insulin earlier than they should.
That's not just unfair, it's measurable harm.
And imagine a future with cheaper pills. You'll basically create classes of body outcomes.
I keep picturing two societies, one medicated and thin, one trapped in an obesogenic world.
Which is why prevention policy matters. Reformulation, sugar taxes, school food standards, Japan-style nudges too.
Every company weighs employees is wild, but it worked culturally. Those incentives changed behavior.
And Okinawa's longevity vibe is the goal. More years of health, not just smaller bodies.
That's what gets lost when we talk only about weight numbers and ignore quality of life.
The other worry is kids. Mass exposure plus eating disorder risk is a nightmare combo.
The 90s amphetamine diet drug disasters are basically a warning manual.
Passing out to be thin, then dying. Those hearings are chilling.
So if we reduce stigma but amplify access for vulnerable minds, we might recreate harm.
Exactly. Regulation can reduce access by age and indication, but society's media dynamics still matter.
Speaking of media, famous rapid shrink stories, do you think people are lying or just optimizing?
I think some are telling truth about training, but the rapid uniformity screams something else for many.
Either way, the cultural signal to normal people is you must fix yourself immediately.
And shame is the fuel. People treat bodies like moral verdicts, not biology.
That cheating feeling when you take medical help is such a deep superstition.
But statins don't get you cheater comments, and diabetes meds don't start morality wars.
Yet weight loss gets framed as virtue performance, especially for women.
Which is why the decision still belongs to the individual, but society must stop the cruel environment.
So if we end on anything, compassion, evidence, and strict honesty about trade-offs.
And the most humane future is pills for emergencies, plus policy for prevention.
Thanks for hanging with us. This series ends, but the curiosity doesn't.
Go slow, think through costs, and be kind to yourself, always. Bye.
Welcome back. This episode goes hard on Ozempic's side effects and the trade-offs people don't see.
We talk pancreatitis, muscle loss, possible addiction effects, and why history makes us cautious.
The pancreatitis story was so brutal, it actually made my stomach drop.
Same, worse than childbirth is not a vibe, that's a warning label.
And even if it's rare, 9 times the risk still sounds like pay attention.
Exactly. Rare doesn't mean harmless, it means you're rolling the dice quietly.
The annoying part is the public debate acts like side effects are optional trivia.
People treat it like a wellness cheat code and ignore the fine print.
Then you throw in muscle loss, and suddenly it's not just weight goes down.
Yeah, it can bite later, weakness, frailty, sarcopenia, the whole aging horror suite.
I loved the sarcopenia is Greek for poverty of the flesh line, dark but memorable.
The body really is like, cool, we got a smaller version of ourselves, great.
And then there's the psychological layer. Expectations versus reality can wreck you.
Lose weight, life stays the same, sounds obvious, but people emotionally don't price it in.
So suicidality might be real, might be confounded. Either way, it demands caution.
The scariest line is basically, we don't know definitively, but we can't pretend nothing's happening.
And then, history. Those diet drug disasters were so grim they felt almost fictional.
Dinitrophenol. You become cooked from the inside is insane, and it happened.
Mother's Little Helper, amphetamines for weight loss. Branding crimes as lifestyle hacks.
Humans really saw a stimulant and thought, yes, slimming medicine.
Fen is the one that really lands. Tiny evidence base, massive harm, huge settlement.
The fact it was marketed widely before the danger was fully appreciated should haunt everyone.
Which is why unknown unknowns matters. Long-term effects can arrive late like delayed bills.
Like antipsychotics and later dementia signals, nobody could confidently predict the timeline at first.
Still, the counterweight is obesity's own long-term risks, and those are not theoretical.
Diabetes cutting years off life, blindness, amputations. People forget the day-to-day brutality of it.
I keep thinking about how the whole conversation flips, depending on whether you've personally been harmed by obesity.
Exactly. If someone's at immediate risk, unknown unknowns feels less relevant than known dangers tomorrow.
But for everyone else, the magic narrative is what scares me, because magic never stays contained.
Magic has side effects, and usually they're paid by someone who didn't sign the receipt.
Like the society-level stuff. If it works, people will want everyone to be thinner, faster.
And once thinness becomes easy, fatness gets treated as moral failure again, just with new technology.
Which is why that cheating feeling is so toxic. People weaponize morality around bodies.
And it hits women harder culturally. That stigma is constant background radiation.
You know what I realize, though? When someone else shrinks, it threatens your sense of permission to struggle.
Yup, people get angry at Adele or Rebel Wilson because it pokes their private story, I'll never change.
That's wild, because it reframes judgment as grief and shame, not just cruelty.
Still cruel, though, obviously. But empathy matters if we want better conversations.
Let's talk about exercise. The question was basically, do people move less if the pill handles the weight?
Yeah, because exercise isn't just calories, it's mental health, longevity, the whole package deal.
So if weight loss becomes injected, the incentive to train might collapse for some people.
Then gyms get quieter and brains get sadder and nobody's tracking that outcome.
There's also the appetite selectivity thing, reducing cravings for bad foods more than good foods.
That selectivity sounds like sci-fi, but the animal data made people sit up.
And then addiction, alcohol, cocaine, heroin, reduced consumption in animal studies is genuinely fascinating.
But it's also disputed, and human studies are tiny, so we can't act like it's proven therapy.
I like the balanced framing. Promising, mixed early signals, and more research needed.
That's the tone. Hope without marketing. That's rare, honestly.
What about tolerating weight regain? 70% regain within a year sounds like a hard wall.
And it raises the take it forever question, plus metabolism worries if it's withdrawn.
So even if the drug works, it might be scaffolding, not a permanent fix.
Like building a bridge and then acting shocked it needs maintenance.
The other huge theme, access and fairness. Rationing, like COVID vaccines, makes sense logically.
Finally, someone says it. Prioritize diabetics and severely obese people first.
Because scramble systems punish the wrong people, and shortages don't care about who's deserving.
That's the part I hate most. Bureaucracy turning medicine into a lottery.
Also, when cost drops and pills arrive, the who gets it debate will get louder.
Imagine society splitting into takes it and doesn't, and everyone blaming each other.
And worst case scenario, drugging children forever, instead of fixing the food environment.
Reformulation, sugar taxes, school food, Japan-style prevention, these are policy choices, not just personal willpower.
The Japan examples were weirdly inspiring, especially the Okinawa village and those old people dancing.
It's like the utopia version. Healthier aging, more joy, less suffering.
And that reframes the whole thing. This isn't about aesthetics. It's about protecting a life trajectory.
Still, the dystopia risk is real if we treat prevention as optional and just medicate our way out.
Okay, so if we end on something, evidence, compassion, and honest trade-offs, no fake certainty.
And strictly, if you are not overweight or obese, that risk-benefit math usually doesn't favor you.
Compassion for people making the best choice they can today, plus policy to reduce the need tomorrow.
That's the humane future. Pills for emergencies, prevention for everyone else. Bye.
Welcome back. Episode 2 is the final one.
We basically stress test Ozempic. Side effects, muscle loss, addiction chatter, and the dystopias.
And then we went super practical. Rationing, prevention, and what happens when pills go mainstream.
The craziest part is how much we still don't know, even with all this science.
Like, the evidence is strong for weight loss, but the long-term map is still foggy.
People online act like it's a cheat code with zero consequences.
That's how you know they've never met a pharmacology textbook.
Exactly. No downside is where the fear should start, not where comfort starts.
But we also can't pretend it's just placebo vibes, right? Some people get life-changing benefits.
Yeah, and for diabetics especially, access isn't a lifestyle choice. It's survival math.
That shortage argument is heartbreaking because the need is not distributed fairly.
You say rationing like COVID vaccines and people suddenly get quiet and start listening.
Because it's obvious. Highest risk first, lowest risk last, no chaos scramble.
And still, policy can't fix the deeper reason people are driven to these drugs.
Which is why the whole prevention thread mattered. Food reformulation, school policies, sugar taxes.
Japan's approach was a reminder that public health can be cultural, not just medical.
I mean, walking into an office and being ranked on steps felt like a sci-fi performance review.
But it proves a point. Societies can design environments that reduce harm without asking for heroics.
Still, I'm uneasy about where this ends if we treat the pill as the only lever.
That's how you get injections as normal, while exercise becomes optional scenery.
And we both know movement isn't only about calories. It's mental health, disease risk, longevity.
So even if weight stays down, what about the trade-off in fitness and mood?
It's like you're swapping one benefit for another, and you don't always notice the missing part.
Plus, there's the appetite selectivity story. Less junk desire, maybe less addiction pressure.
That addiction angle is wild, but it's also disputed, and the human data is still thin.
Exactly. Promising mechanisms don't equal proven outcomes for every person.
And yet, the internet already behaves like it's settled science.
Elton John, you will want fewer jam sandwiches is not a clinical endpoint.
Yo, that analogy had me imagining a celebrity dinner where nobody wants dessert.
But jokes aside, the big ethical question is, what happens when kids get targeted by the market?
Yeah, because if you combine body pressure with a powerful appetite modulator, you can amplify eating disorder risks.
We've seen the pattern before with older diet drugs and vulnerable young people.
History has receipts, and they are not cute receipts.
The cheating feeling also sticks around culturally, especially for women.
That guilt storyline was so real, like, if I use medicine, I'm morally failing.
But if you'd take statins without calling yourself a sinner, why treat weight meds as moral crimes?
Exactly, and that's where compassion matters alongside caution.
My favorite framing from all this is the trade-off worldview. Nothing is free, it's just who pays later.
Hidden costs should be a category, not a conspiracy theory.
And the honest version is, for some people the benefit is worth it, for others it's not.
So we land on evidence, compassion, and clear boundaries, especially not if you're not overweight or obese.
Compassion for who's choosing under today's constraints, plus policy to reduce the need tomorrow.
And if we do it right, we get healthier lives, not just thinner photos.
All right, that's the end of the series. Thanks for hanging with us. Bye for now.